Brian.
Good afternoon, everybody. Tommy O'Brien, thanks so much for joining me. 3 p.m. Eastern Time, final 60 minutes of the day, and we got markets pushing high as you talk about a rebound from the Friday lows, and we'll see if we get some follow-through in volume. It was a big day on Friday. We're climbing higher, and the volume could be a little bit more. We'll see how we close out the final 53 minutes of trading, but right now the S&Ps are up by 1.6%, a bit of a relief rally, as it looks like they have a deal in Washington. The House is going to be trying to vote on it ASAP. The president approves of it. Air traffic controllers, Trump put them pressure on to get them back in business. And yeah, we got the S&Ps right now up 107 points, folks. And we'll see how the volume comes in. But there is some acceleration in this market right now. As the government shut down, they have to make a deal, and it wasn't in the cards until it gets done. It seems like it's done. They hit the pain point, right? The market wasn't sure where the pain point would be, how bad each side was willing to go. And we found out air traffic becomes a big problem, and they're going to get a deal. And we get through the holidays. And NASDAQ 100, how's 2.2%? On the NASDAQ 100, we're up 549 points. Now on a volume basis, okay, it's going to be lighter than the last couple of days when you traded lower. It's a lot of buying on that acceleration on Friday, though. That's the thing. We got a red day in the NASDAQ 100. We were lower, but there was a lot of buying if you get into the action on Friday, right? Look at the closeout volume we had in there as well. Not a lot of volume down at these lower numbers. And, man, closing it out as well. It's always a little bit of a tough call when you get those days where you save it in terms of a nice rebound, a nice candle. But today's going to be a little bit light. You jump over to the Qs for some ETF volume. Look at that, right? 81 million on Friday. You gap higher, and we've done 43 million today. And those last 2 days, 72 million and 81 million. Volume not showing up for some reason on the SPY. All right, we jump around to some of the airlines. To kick it off as travel. A little bit of Friday, it looked like it was in the cards. And there's where the acceleration began, right? 2:35 p.m., you really got an acceleration. Seems like it was a bit in the know that there was discussions taking place, offers being extended, and it gets done over the weekend. We jump to metals. You take a look at gold. Now, we have some volume, 234,000 contracts. That is some good volume, but you're coming into some mammoth days that you're getting above here. 281,000, 330,000 October 28th, 324,000 on the trade lower. That's the day we're into right now. The high from that day, 41.23. We're at 41.21. Right? You did 324,000 contracts. So gold's bumping up against it, and they're buying gold today. And that is not a dollar issue. Dollar is flat. And gold pushing $4,100 right now. You jump over to silver. How about it? Up by almost 5%. Some good volume on silver. You see the ramp up? Okay, but again, you're coming into October 21st. 155,000 contracts that day. You did 75 today. Okay, we got a lot of volume in this acceleration that the metals had in October that this market's going to have to get through. Jump over to the VIX. Yeah, doesn't seem like anything is getting in front of this market right now. Now, the tariffs are still going to be out there. There's some volatility that's looming. That's going to take weeks or months to play out. But what is the next step if the Supreme Court decides that they're unconstitutional? And that is a volatility factor that's going to be hanging over this market until it's resolved. Right? The market doesn't like uncertainty. And that's a level of uncertainty that exists for the next weeks or months until that's determined. And then what's the next step is the real thing that the market would like to know to price that in. All right, after the bell today, we get CoreWeave with their numbers. Earnings pressure, cracks appear in the AI trade. Well, we're getting quite a bounce today. Okay, but you jump over to CoreWeave. We got their numbers after the bell. If you recall, it's so long ago. They were barely able to get this thing IPO'd, right? In March, NVIDIA had to step in They had to be a bigger role than they imagined. They had to backstop it and buy X amount of shares, whatever the details were. Accelerate up. Last earnings, okay, you rip lower on numbers, and we've basically been chopping around within that one bar since then. Here we are 3 months later, and yeah, you have some selling last week as well. You take a look at the monthly, and really, we only have 8 or 9 months on this thing. Gap higher September 30th. But AI is going to be in focus today, and we'll have their numbers after the bell. We jump over to the Analyze tab. When you're talking about the move, yeah, how's that? So you want action through Friday, okay? The market has a $16 move in either direction, right? You want to buy an at-the-money put and a call and give yourself exposure in either direction. You got to make up a $16 move, which is almost 16% just to break even. If you want a directional trade, you still got to make almost 8%. So you have to be correct in which way it's going to trade, and the stock has to move 8%. There's a lot of volatility priced into that equity for their numbers after the bell today. Yeah, look at this move in the video. I was talking about it on my morning program. So this is wild. $850 billion in market capitalization. This has to be by far a record in a 5-day. This is a 5-day, 15-minute chart. From 211.34 to 178.91 approaches 850 billion. I'll have to do it out to the decimal point, but Nvidia has almost 25 billion shares outstanding. The thing trades down almost $34, okay, $35 and change. Excuse me, $33 and change. And now here we are up $20. So you're up 500 billion. So down 800 billion, up 500 billion in a 5-day trading span. And realistically, there's no dramatic news that is for this company alone. It just points to, okay, the level of volatility that is in this market right now. Keep your spikes up on that back. And we'll see. Hey, we got a two-way market right now. That's the other side of this, okay? As a trader, maybe we get some chop, a little volatility. How about it, man? S&P's 200 points down, 200 points up. We'll come back with our man Steve Rhodes, folks. We'll talk some markets. Stay tuned.